time to give the people what they want. It's Jalen and Jacoby.
He is Jalen Rose.
No, not.
It's Michelle Beadle, everybody. Michelle Beadle in for Jalen Rose today on Jalen and Jacoby. I'm very excited about this. You ready to get started?
Yes, I'm going to be very serious.
There are various things, serious things to discuss today.
Yes.
But here's the thing. We don't want to discuss those things. On this show, we talk about what we want to talk about. Do you know what I want to talk about? Russell Westbrook's T-shirt.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Allow me to explain. Do you remember when Kevin Durant was posing as someone who wasn't Kevin Durant so he could defend Kevin Durant on social media sites?
Great moment.
It was barely months. And one of those times in which he was defending himself when he was not being himself, he wrote the following. Imagine taking Russ off that team. See how bad they were? KD can't win a championship with those cats. Well, Russell Westbrook has responded in the most Russell Westbrook way by wearing a T-shirt. That T-shirt says on it, adopt a cat.
Let me see. Oh, my God. He's the best.
I call this competitiveness because it's competitive and petty. I've been trying to make that word happen for months now.
Yeah, and he's the best at it.
And he is the most competitive player in the National Basketball Association. How much do you love this?
So, full disclosure, I'm Italian. I am a Scorpio, and I never forget things.
That seems like three very unrelated traits.
No.
Okay.
You would think so.
Okay.
But Scorpios, and I'm not even an astrology person, but they tend to be fiery, and Italians tend to be sort of fiery and vengeful. And I feel like I'm probably those things. Not actively, I'm never going to be as good as he is. The fact that he continues to sort of outdo himself as a professional troll, and he's so likable that he's the perfect combination. Nothing's going to beat the idea that you signed the single greatest NBA contract in history.
Largest.
On Kevin Durant's birthday.
Remember the photographer's vest?
Yes, it's so
and the
good.
cupcake thing?
Yes.
Like, one of the things that makes me think is, like, he's probably taking shots at ex-girlfriends and like old high school coaches and teachers that failed him. We just don't know what the references are, but I feel like he's always insulting 15 people every time he does anything.
Like, I made this shirt that says "Bless Your Heart" because the only time I say it is when I really think you're a moron and I'm condescending to you.
So you are now disrespecting every single person that sees you, but you don't know.
No, only if they know who they are. You know who you is.
He signed the extension on Kevin Durant's birthday because he probably agreed to those terms.
Oh, God, yeah.
10 days earlier. But he was like, you know what, guys? We're not going to announce this.
I have this idea. I'm really feeling like we should announce it. I think it was the 26th, whatever it was, 29th, whatever it was. Just like, let's hold off on the news for a couple days. Bam!
I loved it.
Professional.
He is so competitive. Here's the thing. This is one of the reasons that I love the National Basketball Association. Like, these interpersonal, super petty, dramatic, like, you read way too much into its little storylines are the reasons I love this sport more than the other sports. Do you agree?
I agree with you. And we can see everybody as they're doing it. We can watch them do it all on social media.
You can recognize them when they walk in the room.
You can recognize them, and there aren't as many of them as there are across the other sports. So it's just an easier focal point for us because we all have like attention span problems. But yeah, as a girl and a woman, I always thought like, we always got the reputation of like drama queen, and you guys are always girls can't be friends and like whatever. It's all garbage. However, it's fun to sort of watch now because, like, man, boys and men are ridiculous sometimes. Thankfully, because it gives us, like, you and I don't always want to be serious about all this stuff. This stuff gives us something to talk about that's actually fun and lighthearted, and I like it.
I could care less who wins the game between the Cavs and the Celtics on the 17th. It's like the first game of the season. I could care less. I don't care who wins the games. I just want to see LeBron James and Kyrie Irving interact, whether phically or verbally or whatever happens. The storyline is not going to be, well, the Cavs won by 15. They did a really good job working Kevin Love into the starting rotation at the 5. That's not what it's going to be. It's going to be, did you see that one time when LeBron James blocked Kyrie Irving's shot and then he stared at him?
They're going to be ISO shots on both of them the entirety of the game, which there better be. And I think is that TNT? Yeah, they got the first one, right? So it's just going to be, I love it. Because I'm not a stats nerd. I like stories. I like human nature. I like watching all that. And this has just been great.
I noticed on social media you went to the Rams game.
I did.
Rams, Seahawks at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Tell me about the experience.
Felt very American. You know what? I have not really been paying attention to a ton of football this season. I've sort of, I think like a lot of people for all different reasons, just about the whole thing. But I was offered these amazing tickets. So I was like, all right, I'm going to take my girlfriends. We're going to go. And it was fun. I mean, it was hot as hell. And I don't know.
So you were offered really good seats.
Yeah, they were good seats.
So why did you try to steal someone else's seats?
Okay,
someone on our staff said that you stole the seats of other people. Have you ever been to like an event and you see you see someone sitting in your seat and you look at your ticket and you're like, I don't want to engage with them until I know that I am 100% positive that they are stealing my seat. And that person did that, and like there it's Michelle Beadle sitting in their seat.
Here's what happened. The seat read Tunnel 7, Row 5, seats 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We went through Tunnel 7. We went to what I thought were my seats. And I asked the 4 people sitting in those seats, I said, hey, I think these are mine. I showed them my ticket.
Oh, you did that?
Yes. And they said, no, we think you're one section over. So they basically they either did it knowingly, which was good on them because they got me, or they didn't, which is an honest mistake. So we go, okay, so we move one section over. Exact same 4 seats, one section over, which technically were worse seats because mine were on the 50. And now I moved over. And I'm a little asymmetrical at this point. Halfway through the third quarter, by the way, who shows up in the halfway through the third? A couple comes up and says, we think you're in our seats. So now I'm like, I'm going to alpha them because I don't know anything. Through the third, which I'm already irritated. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
So I take my ticket out and I say, no, I think this is ours. I'm pretty sure you're one section over. So we're just continuing. Not an usher, anyone to be seen. We can't ask anybody because no one knows. And then I sit there and now it's bothering me because I can't get it on my head.
You're really blaming like everybody else in this scenario. You've blamed 5 other people so far.
So I finally asked the person in front of me and I'm like, hey, what section? And sure enough, we were in the wrong. We were supposed to be in the better seats that were to the left. The problem is, like, what does that mean? Tunnel 7, row 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tunnel 7 is here, and then they spread out on 2 ways. So there's L, and it's a mess. They just need to have a couple people like that know what's going on. Because we're all on our own out there.
Even weirder than the seat stealing thing.
Yeah.
Also heard.
Where are you getting this information?
You know exactly where I'm getting this information. One of our producers was with you.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
Allison.
I heard you were sober.
Oh yeah.
The entire time at a football game on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Don't you know how this works?
Yeah, I know how it works. I drove. Okay. Number one, I'm a responsible
Now
American
I'm the bad person.
No, we drank the night before, and I just didn't feel great.
There it is. Yeah. We've all been there. I thought
I would snap out of it,
but
I never did.
You are not Jalen Rose, so I finally get to talk about Game of Thrones very quickly. We have news that they are now going to film like 7,000 different endings so they can keep it all under wraps and no one can ruin the story. What do you think will be the ending of this program?
First of all, what's it like to have that kind of a budget that you can just film a bunch of endings?
Yes.
Good for you. I don't know. I really
Can I pitch you mine?
Yeah, please.
Iron Throne is empty. Just a shot of the Iron Throne. And then in walks the Night's King.
Shut up.
Sits
no
down
way.
on the Iron Throne.
So the bad guy wins.
Yes.
I don't hate it. It's certainly better than because it's either what
and
John.
Then do you know what the Night's King says? He goes, "I'm Italian. I'm a Scorpio, and I don't forget things."
Then I'm back on.
See. Coming up next on Weirdly Jalen and Jacoby without Jalen, we're going to talk about Cam Newton a little bit.
Yes.
Cam. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. In for Jalen Rose's Michelle Beadle, legendary Michelle Beadle.
Bing bong. Yes.
Clearly in response to backlash of sexist comments he made earlier in the week, Cam Newton wore a ridiculous hat, and on his ridiculous hat, he had a pin that had Rosie the Riveter on it. Clearly some sort of, like, olive branch reach-out message thing he was doing, being like, I'm not sexist, look, I put Rosie the Riveter on my hat. Does that change the way you feel about Cam Newton?
Well, okay, so I never, this didn't get me in too big of an outrage, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it's my old age or my anger at a lot of other things in the world these days, but I just couldn't find it in myself to get completely out of control, mad about what he did. Because I accepted his apology as far as like, oh, it's cool, whatever, we're good. I think there are a lot of people that think the way he does, that's the bigger issue.
Yes.
Not that he said those words, as you saw by the outpouring of responses. So yeah, I'm sure somebody in his camp thought this would be a good idea, or just sort of like a nod to feminism everywhere. It's not great.
When I heard, I saw the headline. It was actually like a notification on my phone, like,
Get
Cam Newton wears Rosie the Riveter pin, and I went to look at the picture. I was like, wait a second, he put it on the side of his hat,
it's
like
big,
under
too.
the brim. It was just kind of, I felt it was a little bit more prominent placement would have been nice.
Did they ask him about it, or did it just that was it?
We don't have any good sound
I didn't know
from
if he
it,
answered.
so like if they did ask him about it, I'm sure he didn't say anything interesting. But one thing he did say, which I found just a little like, that's interesting. He said when he made that remark, he was attempting to give the reporter a compliment.
Right.
How do you think he rationalizes that?
I think very easily. And so here's where I try to want to have a discussion with people. And this is why I don't understand why we can't just sort of all shut up and listen a little bit better to each other. Because whereas somebody might say he was trying to give her a compliment, I don't doubt for 1 minute that some people think he was trying to do that.
He said it himself.
Right. And so that's where the problem lies. I can spot a person who's just outright sexist from a mile away. They don't hide who they are. They're not shamed about it, whatever. And so that's a much easier thing to do. How we get to the place we're in right now, whether it be racism, sexism, what have you, are these sort of sneaky, insidious remarks that just become part of our psyches.
The unconscious bias.
Right. And
yes.
you don't realize that what you're saying is inherently sexist. And so it just becomes the norm. And then you have the reaction that we saw a lot of people have, like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not, because what you don't realize is that fundamentally what's being said is a sexist comment. And I don't know how we fix that. I think that's why everyone's so amped up.
The fact that he feels comfortable saying it into a
Right.
microphone
That's
is
how you know.
indicative that like he didn't think it was a big deal, because it is sort of like an unconscious bias, not like a flat out,
Right.
like in your face
Right.
feeling that he has.
Yeah, and people got mad because I was like, hey, white dudes, just shut up and listen for 5 minutes. And I mean that 100%, because 9 times out of 10, when it comes to these matters of whether it be sexism or racism or everything that's going on right now, the most vocal that I see and hear is a very specific demographic. And I'm not telling you, hey, do this. I'm asking you, just like listen, just shut up and listen. Because just like I don't know what the perspective in walking in the shoes of a 35-year-old white dude is like in this country, you don't know what walking in my shoes or walking in Cam's shoes or whoever's shoes. You don't. Just, is there any harm in it? Like, people acted like I basically told everyone to go kill themselves. I was like, no, I'm asking us to listen.
Listen.
Maybe we'll have a talk. Not everyone's equipped to have that conversation. I get that. But some of us are.
And we here are ready to have that conversation with Jalen Jacoby. More importantly, it's time for Negative Jacoby. Here's the thing. Jalen is a very positive person. He's loving, he's nice, he's jovial, he's happy.
Yes.
I've got a little bit of negativity at my core. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just not always, just, unicorns and flowers and rainbows over here. And today, I'm focusing my hate laser on your San Antonio Spurs.
Why?
Because you're here.
Well, that's rude.
And because
Okay.
I don't think they're going to be very good this year.
Fair enough. Okay. Based on, well, go ahead.
The latest is that Rudy Gay, who just got there, by the way, has played 0 games for the team. Rudy Gay is like, you're going to see the old LaMarcus Aldridge this year. He's going to be great. Popovich is having meetings with LaMarcus Aldridge. Like, why is LaMarcus Aldridge being spoken about like this sensitive, broken man that needs to be pieced together by his teammates?
So I'm not the biggest LaMarcus Aldridge fan.
Okay.
This is
You're not
fan
alone.
Beadle.
You're not alone.
Not Countdown Beadle.
I can't imagine what would make you feel that way. Oh, that's right. All of his terrible playoff performances for your franchise.
So my issue with LaMarcus Aldridge is sort of, okay, so you were the focal point in Portland. You were like the man, and you didn't like it, and it wasn't working for you, right? These are according to his life and the choices he's made. We've seen all that. Now you're in San Antonio, arguably one of the best franchises in the history of the NBA. It's a good place to be. No state tax. Yeah, shout out. And you have the best coach who's there, who's ready and willing to help you become better. And then we got all these grumblings during the playoffs last year that he wasn't happy there and that the system wasn't working for him and he didn't know where he was supposed to be. And then you would watch him and Gasol for that matter. And it was like they were allergic to the basketball and it was frustrating to watch. And then you hear about these talks. I don't get it. If you can't work in Portland and you can't make it work in San Antonio, I'm starting to think.
Might be a you problem. Might be a you problem.
It's probably you.
And it's like, oh, you know what? I'm not happy here. It's like, do you know who else isn't happy? All of the Spurs fans and all of the Spurs organization, because you just got 6 points and 4 rebounds in 35 minutes. So, like, no one's happy here. But let me just give you some stats about your team. LaMarcus, he's 32.
Okay, I'd love to be 32.
Rudy Gay kind of looks like he's 38, but he's 31.
How dare you?
And then you've got Tony Parker, 35.
Fair enough.
Pau Gasol, 37.
Yeah.
Manu Ginobili is 40 years old.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about how Pop rests all of his players. I'm starting to think he rests his players so much because they need naps because they're middle-aged.
You know what, dude? First of all, I love a nap. Right?
I love it. I wish I was a better napper.
I wish I could
to
take
be
a nap
honest.
every single day. Look, I'm not. I wish I could sit here and yell at you and argue with you, but given the offseason that we just watched and the sort of transactions that happened and where everybody ended up, especially in the West, I know.
Yes,
I'm with you. I'm curious to see how this all plays out because they didn't do
it's gonna
much.
Go well.
But then I don't want to see Pop go out. Like, that's the thing, is I have so much respect and trust in what Pop and R.C. Buford do in San Antonio that there will always be this part of me, no matter how bad things
It's like
look on
this Brady
paper.
Belichick thing. Like, oh, they've got Brady Belichick.
They'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah, they've got Pop and Kawhi. Like, they got Pop and Kawhi.
So
They're going to be third in the West. It's like, I think all they have is Pop and Kawhi, like some old dudes.
Yeah, but they'll figure it out. Just put some stuff together. Boom, 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 boom. Western Conference champions. Let's do this.
You heard it here on Jalen and Jacoby. Put some stuff together. Boom, doom, 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 doom. Western Conference
That's how good
champions.
Pop is.
Beadle in for Jalen. When we come back, we're going to play Keep It Moving with Beadle.
Oh, yes.
She doesn't even know what that means.
I know it's good.
She'll find out after this. Jalen Rose, I have an announcement. It's been coming, but I just wanted to confirm for you.
Yes, you're leaving the show. Michael Rappaport. The Lions. Is the Podfather coming back? Yes. You have too many kids. You prepare too much. And all of a sudden you focused on a marathon. You want to play basketball all the time. You want to run 15 miles. You want to stroll in here 5 seconds before the show. Yes. I never thought this day was coming. And I want to do like Kelly Ripa. It's not going to be nobody else named on the show. It ain't going to be Kelly and Regis. It ain't going to be Kelly and Michael. It's just going to be Jalen.
Welcome back to Michelle and Jacoby on ESPN Radio. Michelle Beadle in for Jalen Rose. Thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, this is awesome. I only say yes to you guys. I say no to everything else.
I'm going to leave that alone.
Well, no, that's exactly what I meant.
This
Okay.
is called Keep It Moving. You ready?
We
Yes.
be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
There's a lot that goes on in the sports world and the pop culture world, but not all of it is worth discussing. So if you would like to talk about it, you say hit the brakes. I push this button. If you don't want to talk about it, you say keep it moving.
Got it.
And Method Man keeps us moving. We paid a lot of money for that. Jerry Jones said that his players will...
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
Look, I'm really playing a game.
Jeff Green says the Cavs are a no-brainer to win the championship.
Keep it moving.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
LeVar Ball...
No, keep it moving.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
This is great. In Austria, there's an electronics store called McShark, and someone got arrested
Hit the
while
brakes.
advertising the store.
Yes.
A man dressed as a shark has been fined under the new anti-burqa laws in Australia. The shark was advertising the opening of a new electronics store called McShark. I don't speak Australian, but I don't think that McShark translates...
Austrian.
Oh, Austrian. I don't speak Australian either, okay?
don't?
I don't.
Stupid.
I don't. Oh, I'm stupid now. I'm stupid
I mean, you're
now.
not smart. I can say that.
I don't speak whatever they speak in Austria, but I'm pretty sure that McShark doesn't translate to high-quality electronics here.
I don't know that. It might.
What do you think the brainstorming meeting was when they're like, guys, anybody got a name for this electronics store? It's just quiet for a while. And someone's like, McShark.
What if that's somebody's name? I mean, I hope it is. I wish it was mine.
Yes, I'm changing my name. Well, you are listening
whoever
to
changes it first.
Jalen and McShark.
Michelle
Next,
McShark. Oh, it's
Vice President Mike Pence left the 49ers Colts game on Sunday.
We moving, you know, we keep it moving.
yeah.
Everybody in the NFL got injured yesterday.
I mean, what are we supposed to say about that?
Keep it moving.
Keep it
We
moving.
be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
In related news,
Okay.
Terrell Owens says he's still trying to get a spot on an NFL roster.
Hit the brakes.
So that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But him and Ocho Cinco actually reached out to the Giants. The Giants, they lost Brandon Marshall, they lost Sterling Sharp, they lost another receiver, they lost Odell Beckham Jr. Like they had 4 strong receivers, and they all got injured. At this point, you do have to start considering other alternatives, non-traditional alternatives, like a reality show about Terrell Owens and.
Well, I mean,
Ocho
they're
Cinco.
still in shape, right? I mean, you see. Well,
I think Terrell Owens will always be in shape.
Yeah. So it's what are your options? You could give it a shot. Worst case scenario.
What could go wrong?
They're lousy.
They should do some sort of open tryout gimmick.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Like, yeah, do it.
I love it.
Oh, I kind of love this idea.
Hire Colin Kaepernick to play wide receiver for the Giants.
Yeah, right. Yeah, keep hoping. I'd say keep hope alive, but it doesn't work here either.
McDonald's has apologized.
I'm listening.
To McShark.
Hit those brakes.
No, just kidding. McDonald's has apologized to Rick and Morty fans.
Yes! I love this show. Hit the brakes.
They tried to re-release the Szechuan sauce that was featured in the very funny but very weird animated series, and they didn't send out enough Szechuan sauce.
They didn't know.
So they're apologizing, and they plan on re-releasing it. This is all just a way for you to talk about Rick and Morty because we know you love Rick and Morty.
I love Rick and Morty so much.
Explain Rick and Morty in 10 seconds. Explain the plot to Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty is about a genius scientist grandfather who has a child named Morty who also speaks weird like he does, and they're in parallel universes, and he can fix and do anything, but he's also an awful human being that we can all relate to. And also family things happen. But that being said, I think that if you got some of the Szechuan sauce, then that was a collector's item, and you shouldn't give them more. And also, what a weird pairing between McDonald's, which is like America, and Rick and Morty, which not everyone watches. Good for them.
Thanks so much. Not just for that, but for coming here and replacing Jalen Rose.
Love you, Jalen.
I think you're all right, Jalen.